Hey guys, what is up, and welcome to episode 4 of the KBA. This is a voiceover, so everything I'm doing right now is post-commentary. I already recorded these clips. We have a few things to go over in the background. As of right now, I am showing you guys who's being put on the trade blocks. Right now, we're on the Spurs, looking at Thad Young, Doug McDermott, and Lonnie Walker IV. They are all on the trade block. Pretty much all of these are going to be untouchables and trading block for the next couple of minutes, but I do want to just make sure you guys understand, reiterate some of the very basic rules we're going to have, simply so that it doesn't look like everyone's team is just a completely different team after, the first 3 weeks. Obviously, there's only one trade per week. Alright, you can only make one trade as a team per week. And if you trade a player, you can't flip them for another couple episodes. If you traded a player in episode 3, you cannot move him until episode 5. If you traded a player in episode 2, you cannot trade them until this episode, and so on and so forth. You need to take an episode break before moving that player, and you can only do one trade per episode. If it feels like you're making a trade every single episode, I'm just going to simply veto it. If you trade a player before even seeing how he performs for your team, I will simply veto it. There's no reason that all-stars should be getting traded and swapped just to be traded away in less than a week of in-game time. There's no reason for it. It makes no sense. And, that's as if Tim Hardaway Jr., he's averaging 25 points, having probably the best season of his career. That's imagine if someone just traded him right now for a first overall pick, some 23-year-old 77 overall, and just got rid of him just because, he's an 82 overall. Let's look at stats. That's not how this is working. Just letting you guys know that. Don't focus on the overalls. Look at the stats and everything that else gets showed. First trade of the episode is Jay Crowder for Darius Bazley and a second-round pick. Gives the Thunder a veteran and, the Suns a finisher. Trade doesn't make sense to me at all on either. I don't think the Thunder should be contending, and I feel like the Suns should be keeping Jay Crowder on the team, but, it's their trade. This trade is just a swamp. Kind of just doesn't lose or win for both teams. Furkan and Chris Duarte flopped for each other. Chris Duarte is a rookie, but he's quite old, so doesn't really matter. And now we are going to hop into the first primetime game of the night. We got the good old Toronto Raptors taking on the NBA champions in the Milwaukee Bucks here in Toronto. Now, this is one of two primetime games, so we will be getting the Grizzlies versus the Thunder, John Morant versus Shai Gilgeous, or Shai. Some people are telling me it's Shai. That's so weird to sound to me because Shai is pronounced differently than the Shai I'm used to seeing as a name, so it's confusing, but I'll get used to it. So SGA and Ja will be our second primetime, but right now we are focusing on the Milwaukee Bucks. As Jrue Holiday having a very rough season. He's gone down in points quite a bit now. He's only averaging 12 for the squad, but Giannis doing Giannis things. 32 points, 14 rebounds, about 4 assists. I mean, he's having a MVP level season. Speaking of MVP level season, once you see this game, oh my god, I think Giannis is in conversation for greatest single game ever. Alright, now you see him catching the oop off the start, the assist to Chris, you see him getting another bucket. Those two quick buckets at the beginning of the game are one of many, and so is that block. Yes, Giannis does get quite a few blocks here. I don't want to spoil it right now, but it's amazing. This might be the most historic performance by a Bucks player, a player in the 2020s ever. I mean, this game was insane. Now, it was back and forth a little bit here in the very beginning of the first quarter. It was not close at all, and then you get here into the second quarter, the third quarter, and a little bit of the fourth. This game is close. Toronto pulls away with a 9-point lead, but Giannis doing Giannis things, cutting to the rack and falling. I don't know what he tripped on. He's angry. He's on the floor, smacking the ground like a baby. DiVincenzo, big three, putting them only down 2 here, but Gary Trent Jr., the leading scorer in this game for the Toronto Raptors, feeds it off to Malachi Flynn, who nails the 3 as we get right back into it into the third, as the Raptors are still up 4, but that lead slowly coming down as Giannis pins it off the glass. One crazy block there. Precious Achiuwa, I don't even know, man. He got that good old dunk. And then another jumper there by Malachi Flynn. The Bucks still down 3, but Grant Hill with a circus last-second effort 3 gets it to go. And look at this defense real quick by the big men in Toronto. Boucher with a big block. Another great contest as Portis gets the board, and it's stuffed back by Boucher. Gary Trent Jr., crazy 3 over Giannis to give the lead right back. But Milwaukee here at this point has has taken the lead. Giannis is just Euro-stepping his way into the paint. Give him another one, and he is getting buckets automatically right now. The rookie, Scotty Barnes, with a fader over Chris Middleton. 104-99 there with the Pascal dunk as he falls, but Giannis trading dunks right there as he gets another good poster and another dunk as well. Giannis on the defensive end was something to be, shocked by. He did some things that haven't been done since the 90s. Look at this block. This block right here would be Giannis's 10th block. Yes, 10th block as the Bucks come back and win by almost 30. Gary Trent, 29, 21 for Dragic, 19 for Siakam, and, the Raptors, they scored a little bit, not anything crazy. They had the lead for most of this game. They ended up choking. Scotty Barnes went 4 for 23, which is not a good sight at all. Yuta Watanabe, Isaac Bonga got some minutes, but holy cow. Giannis with, I believe, the first quadruple-double since the 90s, with 46, 14, 10, 3, and 10, shooting 22 for 28. He had, by far, one of the greatest performances in NBA history. That will go down in the record books. You're seeing the rest of the team's stats right there. But Giannis with a quadruple-double in today's episode is mind-blowing. That man hooped out of his mind. Jordan Nwora got some minutes here now. I feel bad for Jordan Nwora, because if you watch the Summer League, he was hooping. He had an amazing Summer League. I think he has a lot of potential in this league, in the KBA, so he could be a potential all-star in the future with the right team, right spot, and a low contending team. Giving him some time, Nora could be a lot like Jeremy Grant and all kinds of other guys who go to a lower team, become very successful, and then stay successful the rest of their career. But Giannis is on the leaderboards for a lot of things in this season. The next primetime game we're going to go ahead and jump into is the OKC Thunder taking on the Memphis Grizzlies. Now, recently, they did do a superstar potential swap in SGA for Ja Morant. You saw that in the last episode. SGA, he's had a very good season so far with his new squad, leading them into the playoff picture. The Thunder, not doing the best. They have Ja Morant. They also picked up a Jay Crowder earlier in today's episode, so this is Jay Crowder's debut. There are your starting lineups. It's Ja Morant and basically a bunch of nobodies and Derek Favors taking on, SGA, or not Valanciunas, because he got traded for that man who just got postered, Steven Adams, as well as Josh Giddey on the Thunder. You got Desmond Bane for the Grizzlies, who was shooting very well tonight, almost lights out. Brooks led the team in scoring, I believe, tonight, or second in scoring. He was getting buckets all night. Brandon Clark with the tough finish, and Adams with the post-up and the hook over his former teammate in Ja Morant. They only played like a week together, so I guess I can't really say former teammate because they were barely even teammates, but Desmond Bane with the dagger. This game was pretty close, like the entire time. Brooks taking flight and dunking all over Ja Morant. Jay Crowder dumping in some threes as well, but this game was super close. Slow-mo gets fouled with a little fancy fader there. Favors off to Meldon, gets blocked by his, not former teammate, but gets blocked by Melton. Slow-mo, Kyle Anderson again with a nice layup. Jaren Jackson Jr. with the slam as well as the Grizzlies start to pull away. Up 5 right here. Desmond Bane looks to finish it off with a big three-point dagger, but Ja Morant catching the oop from Lou Dort as right in the next play, Ja Morant gets stripped. SGA all the way. Big old dunk, and the game ends up looking like Memphis 101. Well, after these two free throws, it's 103-95 if these go in. They both should go in, though, because Desmond Bane is one heck of a shooter. But the game ends up being 95-103, and the Grizzlies come away with the dub. And in this matchup, it seems to be that they won the trade. Grizzlies get a dub as Shea, whatever you want to call him. There was 21 and 11, 18 for Brooks, 18 for JJ, 14 for Desmond Bane, and 12 for Slow-mo, who also was really good defensively with 2 steals and a block. Everyone was kind of stealing the ball. I don't know why, but the Thunder could not hold on to it tonight. But over on the Thunder side, Ja Morant drops 34, and that's mainly because nobody else on his team can score or shoot. So Theo had 6, Ja had 13, Favors had 10. Had 7, Giddey had 6 and 7, Kendrick Williams had 5 and 8, and Ty Jerome had a 3, and Roby had 1 single basket, and Poku got 0 minutes because it's Poku. To end today's episode, I would like to go over the current standings and the stats. I'm doing this over on 2K22, at least the recording. I know everything else before now has been a post commentary, but right now this is live commentary. I'm actually looking at the screen and scrolling as I do it, so we're going to go over it right quick. Now, obviously, in the top of the West, West, you can see it is headlined by the Los Angeles Clippers, currently 16-6, winning the last 7 games that they've played, which is kind of impressive, not kind of very impressive. Kobe White, Paul George, Kawhi, Draymond, Wendell Carter Jr. I mean, you guys know this roster, and honestly, them adding Kobe White may have been the secret key. I know he's only averaging 14, but that gives him another score. Paul George is averaging 26. Kawhi has 19. I mean, I'll go over everyone's stats at the end of this, but that's just an example of how good they're doing now. And second is the Dallas Mavericks, currently being led by Luka and Tim Hardaway Jr. Now, Kristaps Porzingis is currently about to be moved. You won't be seeing it this episode, but there's been some trade talks between other teams. Mavericks are looking to ship Kristaps, and they pretty much have a deal done, so that is something to be looking forward to. Now, New Orleans Pelicans is a little bit of a surprise in third. John Wall being added to the team kind of turned them into a contender, which is shocking, averaging 22 points a game, 8 assists, a block, 3 rebounds. John Wall's doing great. Obviously, they have Zion as well, and Zion is just Zion in 2K, but the Pelicans are doing very, very well to start the season as well. Los Angeles Lakers, the team that everyone expects to be number 1, is 4th in the league. That's not such a bad thing. They have yet to make any roster moves, but with a squad like this, you don't exactly need to. 5th, we have the Golden State Warriors, recently picked up Gordon Hayward to replace not James Wiseman, my bad, to replace Mr. Andrew Wiggins. They also picked up Terrence Ross here and Zubac, who are putting in very good off-the-bench numbers right there. We got over here in what I believe is the 6th slot, the Memphis Grizzlies, 12-9. 7th slot is the Minnesota Timberwolves at 12-10. And then you got the following spots in the conference with the Jazz, the Kings, the Suns, the Trailblazers, the Thunder, the Nuggets, the Spurs, and Houston is the worst team in the league. They did acquire Brandon Ingram, who is averaging a career high in 27, so it's not really worrying, I would say. They also have a rookie averaging 18. They have a very young squad that is very talented. They just got to put some pieces together and figure it out this year to contend in future years. Now let's head all the way to the Eastern Conference. Leading the Eastern Conference with a shocking record of 19-3 is the Philadelphia 76ers. You saw their first trade today in order to get Dorte, but that's not even anything that matters to the team. I mean, they're doing great. Ben Simmons is playing, actually good for once, and that's great for him. Milwaukee Bucks, 18-5, former champions. No surprise there, as long as the Nets. I mean, these 3 teams are always locks to be number 1. Haven't made any trades. 76ers have won the last 11 games, which is just, crazy to think about. 11 straight is impressive. You got the Atlanta Hawks at 14-8, the Celtics at 14-8, the Knicks with 13-9, Cavs right behind them, then Miami, Chicago, Charlotte, Toronto, Indiana, Washington, Detroit, Orlando. And Orlando is 3-20. Orlando is the worst team in the league currently. Now, before anyone freaks out, I do want to let you know this is not the end of the world for your teams. Most of these teams that have made a lot of trades and are at the bottom of the list is simply because of chemistry. Your chemistry is killing your team. The more trades you make, the worse your chemistry goes down, and the harder it's going to be for you to win games. Chemistry does matter, so don't be flipping your players every single week, because that is killing your team more than helping it, unless you want to wait till the end of the year to win more than 20 games. Just letting you know, chemistry is killing your teams. That's why you're seeing teams that, although, the Sixers, the Bucks, and the Nets are already good rosters, the Mavs haven't made a single move, and they're second in the conference with a very average team. Pelicans have made 1 move. The Lakers, you know what I mean? These are all teams that have barely made any moves, and they're at the top of the conference as well. You look at teams that have made 3 or 4 moves already. Orlando, you got the Washington Wizards over here. The Rockets, the Rockets are just screwed because the Rockets, but the Trailblazers. You've made a lot of moves. Yes, that's impressive. You've been getting good trades. You're getting good players, but is that really helping your squad because of the chemistry and what those players actually add to your team? Just something to keep in mind. So if you're flipping your players just to flip them because you're bored, bad idea, because your team will be 3-20 as well. Now let's move over to the player stats of each team. We're going to scroll all the way to the 76ers. We're going to start there, and then we're going to go on. This isn't going to be slow. I'm going to try to do this as quick as possible. I'm going to go over the top 3, and then I'll scroll, and then you guys can look at those by yourself. So either screenshot, pause the video. Whenever I get to your team, pause the video. There we go. Cool. We ready? Dope. Starting off, 76ers, Embiid is playing it like Embiid, 25-13 with 2 blocks. Tobias Harris, player who is looking to be on the move, not going to be in Philly very much longer. A trade has pretty much already been finalized to get Tobias out of Philadelphia, but he was the second leading scorer here on the 76ers with 23. Simmons with 17 and 7, and then the rest of the numbers are non-surprising numbers. Everyone is playing pretty great. Yeah, you can see those. Great, cool. Okay, we go over the 76, or not past the 76ers, we go to the Bucks. Giannis is doing MVP numbers. We just went over that for the primetime game. Middleton's doing great. Portis is doing great. Drew Holiday is having statistically one of his worst seasons in years. DiVincenzo's stepped up. Pat Connaughton, Hill, Grayson Allen stepped up quite a bit there. So, all around great things for the Bucks. The Bulls, Zach LaVine averaging 28 a game, DeRozan with 21, Vucevic with 19, and Lonzo with 12 and 7. Eric Paschall is helping the squad. Terrence Mann is playing pretty decently. I mean, they do have the depth that they wanted, but they have a lot of good players who aren't even getting any minutes, who could be flipped for picks. Cough, cough, that's what I would be doing, because if you're not playing this is my thing. If your players aren't playing at all and you don't have a plan for them, you should ship them for something to upgrade. Just my 2 cents. The Cavs, who have surprisingly started off the season very, very well, their front court or back court, whatever the frick it's called, Colin Sexton, Darius Garland, both averaging 20 plus. Jared Allen averaging 2 blocks and 13 rebounds with a crazy double-double. Kevin Love is struggling, but they have a lot of big men on this roster. They could be looking to get some better backup guards. I mean, Rubio's there, but nothing crazy. I saw Dean Wade and thought Dwayne Wade mind-blowing. Now, another shocker in the league is Jaylen Brown leading the Celtics. Yeah, Jaylen Brown is the new best Celtic, apparently, averaging nearly 30 points for the squad. Don't worry, Tatum's still good, but 30 points with Brown is mind-blowing. You got Schroeder with 18, and then everyone else is just pouring in a little bit of buckets. Nothing crazy. Grant Williams, you're my least favorite Celtic of all time. The Clippers, you got Paul George, Kawhi, Wendell Carter Jr., Kobe White, Morris, you got Reggie, you got Otto, you got Green, you got Bradley, you got Bledsoe, you got Toscano, all kinds of dudes, all kinds of names. Great for you. Grizzlies, Shai is averaging 25 with his new team. JJ Jr. is averaging 20, and Dylan Brooks and everyone else is just putting in small numbers, nothing crazy. Hawks, Trae Young is averaging 28. John Collins got 15. Clint Capella got 14 and 13. And their newest guy, Daniel Gafford. I mean, a lot of players averaging 10 plus, which is great for the Hawks. If you have Trae averaging 27, everyone else is averaging just 10. Yeah, you're pretty set right there. Miami Heat, Jimmy Butler, 21, Bam with 20, Oladipo having almost like a resurgent season with 17, Lowry with 17 as well, Tyler Hero with 15, Duncan Robinson with 15, who is currently being shipped as well. He will be gone by the next episode, so Miami, say goodbye. Markieff Morris also is getting no minutes. Player could be great, and then obviously the GOAT, Udonis Haslem, and Omer. Just saying, Omer should be doing something more than just sitting on the bench. LaMelo Ball leading the Hornets, followed by Terry Rozier, Andrew Wiggins, PJ Washington, Mason Plumlee, Miles Bridges, Book Knight, Kelly Oubre Jr., and then Ish Smith is coolin', he's vibing. Jazz, Donovan Mitchell as always, but the newest acquired, oh my god, English, Malcolm Brogdon putting in 17, Clarkson with 15. Bojan with 14. Gobert doing Gobert things. Rudy Gay just recently signed here as well. And Caruso got traded as well. He's not really doing much, though. The Kings, they've made 0 moves, so you don't really have to go for their roster. It's the same roster as the 2K roster. De'Aaron Fox is doing okay, I guess. Same thing with the Knicks, nothing different. Julius Randle with 27 and 12 a game right now. Fournier, Kemba, Barrett, Rose, quickly, everyone putting in a couple points there. The Lakers, LeBron is leading the team in scoring. Westbrook is averaging not a triple-double for like the first time in 7 million seasons, which is crazy. Kendrick Nunn averaging 9, and Carmelo also putting in buckets for his new team. Magic, the worst squad in the league right now. Jalen Suggs is averaging 19, leading the team as a rookie. Ibaka got 12 and 8 and 1.4. You got Fultz, you got Cole, you got Bamba, you got Jonathan, you got OKK, you got all those dudes. Justice Winslow also averaging 8. Luka, this is probably one of the most shocking teams, as Luka's averaging 27. Tim Hardaway has 23. Tingus Pingus has 19 a game. I mean, he's getting moved pretty soon here, but other than that, just kind of empty stats for those guys. James Harden, the big three. Do we have to go over this squad? They haven't made any moves, and they're just, I mean, they're playing like gods, so that's sad. Same thing with the Nuggets, no moves, 3 players averaging 20 a game. Royal Ryan, I don't know if he's even gonna be active, so we might need a new Nuggets GM. So if you're here and you want to be a Nuggets GM, let me know. Ryan, if you see this, let me know if you're actually going to be in it or not. Okay, anyways, Pacers, you got Sabonis, TJ, Turner. I mean, just nothing crazy, no crazy numbers, no 20-point per game scores. Sabonis, though, is having a really good year. Zion, 25, John Wall, 22, Valanciunas with 15, Graham with 15. Very strange squad. It's a very weird team. I don't understand how they're performing so well, but they are. Pistons being led by Mr. Grant, Sadiq Bey, and Olynyk. Cade Cunningham not playing very well, actually. Kind of not, I don't want to say a bust, because it's only his rookie year, but he's playing up like a bust. Why is Kelly Olynyk outscoring you? I don't know. Raptors, Freddie, Siakam averaging 18. Other than that, this team is also struggling. They're 8-15 on the year, so nothing crazy. The Rockets, the worst team in the West, getting led by 27 point per game Brandon Ingram, and then Jalen Green with 18, Wood with 16, Eric Gordon with 13, and Kevin Porter Jr. with 13 as well. You go over to the Spurs, currently 5-14. They're having a very strugglesome year as well. Keldon Johnson, though, pouring in the buckets with 18 right now. He looks to be the leader. Him and DeJounte Murray are pretty much the future of this team. Derek White is about to be shipped away, so we're going to ignore him. Joshua Primo, another player who should be the future of this team, only getting 7 minutes. I don't imagine he's, or 7 points. I don't imagine he's getting a lot of minutes. You look over at the Suns, and Darius Bazley actually is being a huge help off the bench for them. Actually, he might even start over Cam Johnson. I have no clue. I haven't got rotation sent in, so it's whatever 2K decides. But Devin Booker leading the squad as usual. Thunder, John Morant, Luke Dort, Jake Crowder, you know, both guys traded in that Thunder Suns deal are actually helping each other's teams, so I guess you can't complain too much about that. The Timberwolves, Towns and Russell leading them with 20. Anthony Edwards is almost there with 19. Boogie Cousins being a nice addition to the squad as well. Pat Will playing great defensively with 2 steals a game practically. And Pat Beverly is still there, so is Layman. They both want to get moved though. Lillard, McCollum, he's currently on the trade block, by the way. I know I didn't put that in the earlier video, but Casey told me to put him on the trade block. Norman Powell, Nico Mannion is balling at a 73. I'm interested to see where he grows in these next couple of years. Kuzma's good. Keller's decent. Keller, I just combined Zeller and Kisper. Kisper's decent. Anthony, I mean, all around, they have a lot of moves, a lot of players, but they're struggling at the beginning of the year. The Warriors, one of the better teams in the conference right now at 13-8. Curry's putting up Curry numbers, 29 a game. Hayward is doing nice. Ross off the bench is pretty decent there. Zubac is okay off the bench. Same thing with Kennard, and Iguodala and Moody aren't even getting any minutes. So I don't know. Wizards, the team that is the most confusing. They're 6-16, although they've built a pretty nice roster here. Got 25 points with Beal, 17 with Dinwiddie, 13 with Nurkic, Rui, Harrell, Covington, Laurie. Like, you see this, they just don't have a backup guard. They literally don't have a backup point guard playing for them. So that might be their biggest issue, because Kevin Huerter is not a point guard. He is just a shooter. So that might be the issue here, because they got Taco Fall. Like, that's it. That's pretty. They have no backup big or point guard, I should say. But those are all the player stats. We could go over league leaders. I'm just gonna filter through this really quick. I'm not gonna read every single one out loud. You can see those. You can look at those. You can keep track of those. That doesn't even matter. Bam. Cool. Yeah. So, hope you guys enjoyed episode 4 of the KBA. I can't tell you when KB5 is going to be out, but hope you guys enjoyed this episode. As always, been your boy, Lil Cody. Peace out.
I'm the bee's knees, these hoes, yeah, they just love me. Flow so cold, but my nose straight runny. Got a lot of bros, so don't act funny. Shooting off shots, gun hopping like a bunny. Run up on me, you a motherfucking dummy. You know I do these